Welcome back to another Saucy Picks MMA video. Yes, when I say another video, this is technically the first video on the YouTube page. I guess we can call it the unofficial first video. The official first video will be dropping tomorrow, Tuesday at 11 a.m. So be ready for that. So for now, we will just call this the unofficial first video. But once again, I'm your host, Skylar Lurwell. Today we're going to be talking about tomorrow's Dana White Contender Series. This is week 9 of the Contender Series, so we'll have this week and one more week before this season is over. It seems like that flew by. But this week on the card, there is some serious talent for sure. We've got some big names. Uh, and some very talented fighters on this card. I'm really excited for this fight card, which is good. That's gonna be good. But boys, some of these fights are gonna be good. I'm telling you. So make sure to tune in for that. But let's just get right into it. So starting off the card, we've got Sean Gauchi versus Anthony Drilich. Both these guys are Aussie guys. I want to say Sean Gauchi is coming from Hex MMA, which is a really good promotion. And Anthony Drilich is coming from Eternal MMA, which is a great promotion in its own right as well. So these guys have been, they've been facing some fairly challenging competition, which is good. I think this will be both of their highest level of competition that they're going to face yet. So it'll be a really good fight. Anthony Drilich, he's coming off of missing weight today. I believe he missed by a pound. So we'll see how that factors in. But starting off with him, uh, again, these are both great fighters, both mostly strikers, which so it's going to be a stand-up battle from start to finish. I imagine it's going to go 3 rounds, and unless one of them can absolutely land a bomb, but these guys are very technical on feet. Anthony Drilich is more of a uh, kind of an in and out kind of guy. He jumps in, throws a combination, jumps back out, and he's back out at distance. So he's really good at timing, getting in and out of the pocket really well, and then staying on the outside and avoiding big shots. Uh, a knock on Anthony is his offensive and defensive grappling. He's not very experienced in that realm, and that's kind of where I give Sean Gauchi uh, the edge here. Um, he is the favorite, probably rightfully so. Minus 190 is a little bit pricey, I would say. Um, but going on to Sean, he again, he's a really phenomenal striker. I would say he has the power advantage for sure. But the thing that is going to give him the edge here, as I mentioned before, is he's got a little bit more experience as well as more uh, offensive wrestling, better offensive wrestling. I can't imagine these guys really shooting takedowns, but if they're going to, it's going to be Sean Gauchi, and he's most likely going to get them. He's just got a little bit more experience in that realm. But I mean, you got to tune in from this fight, on. I mean, from here on, it gets better on the card, and this fight's going to be phenomenal. For the pick, it's going to be, Sean for the pick. Like I said, he's just got more experience. Uh, Not much more, of course, but a little more experience. And then, like I said, he's got some better offensive wrestling if he needs to use it. So the pick is going to be Sean Gauchi, but we will see how that 1 pound weight miss from Anthony Drilich plays a factor. You just never know. It seems like when these UFC guys are missing weight, it gives them a fairly big advantage. So we'll see how that plays out. But for the pick, we're going to go with Sean Gauchi. The second fight, we've got Islam Dulatov and Vanilto Antunes. So Islam Dulatov is legit. This guy is good. He's 10-1. He's been fighting. I guess the first part of his career, he was fighting a lot of cans. Yeah, he just was the first 3 4 fights in his career. The guys he was facing they were just not very good. Um, I believe he's got 9 finishes, all in the first round, and then one decision win and one decision loss. So he is hot off the start. And for Vanilto here, I don't see where he's going to be able to capitalize in any way, shape, or form. Islam is he's got I believe it's 5 submission wins and 4 knockouts in the first round, or vice versa. So he's good everywhere. His striking is phenomenal. He's a huge dude. It's saying he's 6'6" here, which at the weigh-ins he didn't quite look 6'6". I'd put him more. I'd probably put him closer to 6'5", 6'4.5". He didn't quite look 6 foot 6 inches, but he's a huge dude. He's got a long reach. He's able to control distance extremely well. And like I said, he's got 4 or 5 submission wins, and he's just good everywhere. So this guy's good. We'll see. I think he wins this pretty easily in the first round. I don't think he goes past the first round, and Islam is he's gonna piece him up on the feet. He's going to find his distance quickly. He's going to gauge the range quickly. He's going to use his enormous reach and his huge build to just piece up Benelto. And I don't think this fight's going to go very long. Islam's going to find a finish in the first round. He's a minus 560 favorite, which is a huge favorite, which is scary. And anyone at a minus 560 is just something I stay away from. And I believe the under 1.5 is inflated as well. So as far as betting wise on this fight, it's a little tricky to find a spot. Maybe a submission from Islam, but it seems like a stretch, just because I think he's going to keep this on the feet, and he's going to want to knock this guy out, especially wanting to get a contract. That seemed to impress Dana the most, is when these guys find a knockout on the feet. So as far as betting, I'm probably going to stay away from either side. I don't see how Vanilto can get it done, and the Ripper over here, the Ripper, that's a sick name. He just minus 560 is just too pricey for me. So betting wise, we're staying away from this fight, but the pick is going to be Islam Dulatov, probably by first round KO. So here we got a couple of heavyweights, and I gotta be honest with you guys, this fight's pretty disgusting. Mario Pinto, he's not your average heavyweight, and what I mean by that is he fights at the end of his jab most of the time. He fights at the end of his jab. He stays extremely safe, where I just see most heavyweights, they go out and they throw caution in the wind and swing bombs till someone's face first into the canvas. Mario Pinto is not that. He fights like I said, he fights at the end of his jab. He's got some good low kicks. He fights with his 1-2 really well. He's just a slow paced heavyweight, which is frankly pretty uncommon for heavyweights. He's a huge favorite at minus 650, and like I said, just like I said, going over Islam, it's the same story. You just can't trust these guys at minus 650. He deserves to be the favorite. He's just so pricey. So Mario Pinto, like I said, he fights at the end of his jab. He's honestly, he's a phenomenal fighter. He just, like I said, is a slower paced fighter. Watching him fight is boring, to break it down simply. On to Lucas Camacho. He's a good fighter. He doesn't really have knockout power like a heavyweight should. Um, I don't know if Lucas is going to be able to. I mean, I just don't see a way for him to get this done. The only way I can see him getting this done is just brawling. He's got to go out there. He's got to start hot, start fast, and he's got to just put the pressure on Mario from the start to the finish, and he's got to finish it early. He's got to find some way to land a big shot, which he may or may not have. I don't know if he does. If he can get it in tight, where Mario Pinto's back is against the cage and he's clinching and dirty boxing, I can see him having success there. But at range, he's probably going to get jabbed up like all get out. And a scary thing for Lucas is if he does try and get a takedown, which is a potential opportunity for him. Mario Pinto has heavy hips. He's able to get on top. He sags his hips really well. And if he does get on top, he is heavy, heavy, heavy. It is hard to get this dude off of you. So, the over on this fight is maybe a place to bet it. money lines I would recommend staying away from. Maybe finding an over, 2.5 on this fight or fight to go the distance. Maybe a Mario Pinto by decision prop is the way to go. This card is a little tricky to bet for sure. Um, but the pick here is going to be Mario Pinto. Money line wise, it's just too scary for me. Minus 650 is a no-brainer to stay away from. And maybe Lucas Camacho can get it done. I don't see many paths to victory for him. But yeah, the pick here is going to be Mario Pinto in probably a boring 3-round fight. So on to the co-main event here. We have Cody Steele and Chasen Blair. Chasen Blair, he is out of uh, Cage Warriors, which the Cage Warriors guys aren't overly impressive nowadays. They're hard to. It's hard for me to get on the train for them. Cody Steele's legit. I think he's a great fighter. He was scheduled to fight earlier in this season's scheduled to fight earlier in this season's Dana White Contender Series, and his opponent pulled out of the fight before the fight even started. It was like 2 or 3 fights before the fight, and his opponent pulled out. And we were told because he was, I don't know, having some weird anxious feelings. I mean, it makes sense, that's whatever for him. But Cody Steele's legit. I'd pull out if I was fighting Cody Steele too. His Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is phenomenal. You may recognize the name Cody Steele just from him being around for so long. He's been around on the UFC Fight Pass for man, just a long time. He's been competing in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu events for years and years. So his name is relatively big. Um, Cody, he's got to get this fight to the ground. Jason Blair was submitted by knee bar in his last fight to a guy named Hizmagulov or something like that over in his last fight in Europe. And it just wasn't a good look for him, and going against a guy in Cody Steele with phenomenal jiu-jitsu, uh, relatively good wrestling. It's just hard for me to see Chase and Blair getting it done here. I could see Chase and Blair chinning Cody Steele. He's just got to find the right shot. He has good striking. He doesn't have overly crazy power, but he does have fairly good striking. So the Chase and Blair's got to go out there. He's got to you know, start landing punches, start getting reads. He's got to find a way to touch Cody Steele's chin. As far as a pick goes, the pick is going to be Cody Steele. I think Cody Steele is able to, uh, find the back or find a leg or lace up a leg, some sort of submission. I think Cody Steele is going to be able to do it here. But again, Jason Blair could find the chin and could chin Cody Steele down, knock him out. That's about the only way I see him winning this fight. Well, like I said, the pick's going to be Cody Steele. And betting wise on this, there could be some value on Chase Blair's side at plus 190. It's a little tough for me to get on that side of things. Chase Blair is a finisher. He likes to go out and look for finishes, which is awesome. And actually, in his last fight, that's what put him in a bad position to get knee barred. It was just simply him, working on finding finishes. So he is a finisher. He has some upside. So if you are going to bet, it could be a Chase and Blair by submission or KO or inside the distance, something along the lines of that. It'll probably get you a better number that way. But like I said, the pick's going to be Cody Steele here. So on to the main event, which is probably the most anticipated, maybe not matchup, but the most anticipated prospect is Artem Vakhitov. So Artem, he is the last man to defeat Alex Pereira in kickboxing over in Glory. I was watching the tape. I believe you can find it on YouTube. It's Alex Pereira's and Artem Vakhitov's fight in Glory kickboxing. Like I said, Alex Pereira looked phenomenal in the first rounds of that fight. And Artem Vakhitov really he just weathered the storm is what he did. He did really well. He weathered the storm, and that's how a lot of his fights go. Is he's able to weather the storm early, at least in kickboxing, and then he takes over late, and he's able to win the decision, which is almost reassuring for a guy like Artem with such phenomenal striking. He doesn't just rely on finishing guys, which is awesome. So he is able to go into deep waters, and like I said, he took Alex Pereira deep, and he took over late in the rounds and was able to win that by decision. Um, he is a highly anticipated prospect, and as you're seeing the number over there, he's a minus 600 favorite, which is huge. Uh, Islam Masraf, he has some striking. He has good striking. It's nowhere near what Artem's is. So for him to come in here and strike with Artem, I think he's going to get pieced up. He's going to get pieced up pretty well. Um, so Islam has got to come in here and find a way to wrestle, which is where this fight becomes questionable because who knows where Artem's takedown defense is. And if you're going to bet a minus 600 favorite and then Artem gets taken down in the first round and late on and he's not able to get up, you just don't want a ticket in your hand when you're a ticket with a minus 600 favorite in your hand when someone's getting taken down like that. So it's a little bit tricky to bet this fight in particular. I don't know where Islam Masraf, I don't know where his grappling is. He does have one submission. It was a guillotine. So the other guy was actually offensively wrestling him, and he was able to catch him in a guillotine. His most previous fight was in PFL Europe, where his opponent turned and walked back to his corner, and Islam the bell hadn't rung. Islam head kicked him and knocked him out, won the fight. So I don't know if you can even consider that a win for him. And then Artem Vakhitov, he had a fluke win as well in one of his previous fights. He went out there with his opponent and he leg kicked the guy. I want to say it was twice. It could have been three times, but after the second or third leg kick, his opponent just quit. He called the fight on his own, and so really, I mean, you can put these guys. And then I guess back to Artem Bakitov's loss, it was a fluke loss. He was working on ground and pounding the guy, and he blew out his elbow and quit right there. So Artem Vakhitov really doesn't have very much experience in the MMA. Really, you can boil it down to him having one fight, and Islam you could boil it down to him having two. So these guys are very inexperienced in the MMA world. Like I said, who knows where their grappling is? If this is a stand-up war, Artem's going to take over. He's going to piece Islam up, and he's going to find a knockout. He's got some nasty leg kicks, So if Islam, really wants to win this fight, he's got to find a way to take it to the ground. And again, that's just where we don't know where things are. We don't know where Artem's takedown defense is. We don't know. We don't even know where Islam's takedown offense is. So it's just such a questionable fight. But the pick is going to be Artem Bakitov. I would guess, it's either going to be by knockout or decision. He's going to find his range. He's going to manage distance like he does. Just like any phenomenal kickboxer does. And he's gonna find the chin of Islam. So he's gonna be the pick for sure. But overall, a phenomenal card. Again, a little tricky to bet. There's a couple of little places you can find within, mostly props that you can bet, but super super tricky card to bet on. But again, I'm really excited for this card. Make sure to tune in. But yeah, that's it for the video. I've got to head out here. I've got a softball game to get to, but we'll make sure to like and subscribe and make sure to stay tuned for tomorrow's video dropping at 11. And I will see you guys next week.